Gospel according to Matthew chapter 27, beginning with verse 11. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said, "You say so." But when he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he did not answer. Then Pilate said to him, "Do you not hear how many accusations they make against you?" But he gave him no answer, not even to a single charge, so that the governor was greatly amazed. Now at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they wanted. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they had gathered, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want me to release for you? Jesus Barabbas, or Jesus who was called the Messiah?" For he realized that it was out of jealousy that they had handed him over. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, "Have nothing to do with that innocent man, for today I have suffered a great deal because of a dream about him." Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas and have Jesus killed. The governor again said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release for you?" And they said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "Then what should I do with Jesus who is called the Messiah?" All of them said, "Let him be crucified." Then he asked, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Let him be crucified." So when Pilate saw that he could do nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning, he took some water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves." Then the people as a whole answered, "His blood be on us and on our children." So he released Barabbas for them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus to the governor's headquarters, and they gathered the whole cohort around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him, and after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on his head. Then they put a reed in his right hand and knelt before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They spat on him and took the reed and struck him on the head. After mocking him, they stripped him of his robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. This is the gospel of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Behold the man. By some accounts, this is what Pilate says when he presents Jesus to this enraged crowd. "Here is your king." He's stripped and beaten and dressed in robes to mock who the crowd thought he was. They even gave him a crown of thorns for emphasis. Here is your king. He was supposed to be the one who would come to vindicate us and lead us to be the people in power. He was supposed to destroy the power structure and make sure that we, his people, would now enjoy power over those that we saw as enemies. He was supposed to conquer those who have oppressed us for such a long time. Here is your king. Well, at least at this point, it would seem like this king's reign has been a dismal failure. We didn't get what we thought we were going to get. That makes us kind of upset. Now we're going to let the power structure that we know deal with it. Might as well get on their bus and go along with them. They've been in power all this time, and now we see that this man, who we thought was here to turn things upside down, will not succeed. We should probably make this old power structure happy and go along with them so that we don't receive any retribution. It's the safe thing to do. We need to be seen as supportive. That's probably the thought process behind this whole crucify him thing. So where are we in it? Are we going to go along with the troubles and the systems that we think we know? Are we going to try to remain in a state of perceived safety? Or do we risk something so far out of the box that we really have no idea what we're in for? This Jesus has brought us a vision of a kingdom that certainly doesn't match what we thought we knew. We had a system that used Scripture as a way for some to remain in power and for others to submit to that power. We had a system that confined us in some sort of societal class, and that was all we were ever going to be. We had a system that defined wealth and power by the amount of stuff that a person had. We had a system that defined victory by the beatdown that one person could give another, or how physically or materially strong a person was. This king was none of that. This king showed us that all life is precious and is a gift from God. This king showed us that love was the most important thing you could give to another. This king showed us that serving our neighbor was the best way to show them that you love them. This king showed us that power has nothing to do with material wealth or physical strength or social position. It didn't sit well with the crowds then, and the crowds who at first yelled, "Hosanna," crucified the king for what he showed was the kingdom. To a certain extent, that crucifixion happens over and over and over. We still haven't really bought into the vision of what Jesus' kingdom is all about. As we leave this place today, we do so in silence. That's because this is just the beginning of a week of contemplation. We contemplate who we are and what we are in the heart of Jesus and in the kingdom that he brings. So may you go today and be inspired to see the kingdom that Jesus brings. May you realize that you, every one of you, has a part in that kingdom. May you know that even if you're part of the crowd that is screaming, "Crucify him," that you are loved and forgiven. May you also know that Jesus gives you voice to proclaim his reign and his kingdom, even as he gives himself to each of you. He dies so that you live. So go and live like he's showing you how every day, even this week.